Let's talk more about the 5 years it has been since that massive angry mob attacked the Capitol building. Then outgoing President Trump told a crowd of his supporters to head to the building in protest.
Yeah, the rioters battled police at the barricades, then stormed inside as lawmakers tried to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election. On President Trump's first day of his second term, he pardoned nearly all of the 1,500 people charged and convicted, as well as commuted the sentences of the extremist group leaders convicted of spearheading the attacks. On this 5th anniversary, the president shifting blame, telling Republicans he told the protesters to go peacefully and was misquoted by the media.
I'd much rather do live television than do non-live because, when they say, as an example in my speech, peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol, peacefully and patriotically. Do you know that the Unselect Committee didn't report it, that I said those words? Do you know that the news never reported the words?
The White House has since launched this page on its official website with some misleading and inaccurate details, including calling it a peaceful gathering and saying the tensions only escalated because of the police. The Justice Department has stated the rioters injured more than 140 officers that day, with 5 who died.
Several officers who fought off the rioters to defend the Capitol talked about how difficult it's been to deal with the many efforts to downplay violence.
All despite a massive trove of video and photo evidence documenting the carnage and what witnesses there in the Capitol Hill neighborhood saw that day. And that's where we find DC News Now's Ben Dennis joining us live.
Ben, you spoke with neighbors whose images of the riot are still seared in their memories, and also a family member of a DC officer attacked that day.
That's right, guys. Chris and Susan, good evening. Residents all over the district, including right here in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, felt like they were a stone's throw from the U.S. Capitol on that day. Exactly 5 years ago, a building that's very much a symbol of this nation, as it is a defining symbol of the town they call home.
On the 5-year anniversary of the January 6th attack.
This is the way the Capitol should look. And what happened 5 years ago was anything but normal, anything but appropriate.
People who call the D.C. region home, wanting to share a message, and one about their own backyard.
We honor patriots of every stripe who stand up for democracy without resorting to violence.
I have to do everything I can to make this country okay for my kids and my grandchildren.
A vigil near the Capitol reflecting pool capped a day of demonstrations commemorating the riot. Some of the more than 1,500 people charged and convicted of crimes from that day and later pardoned by President Trump memorialized Ashley Babbitt on the National Mall. She was killed by an officer while trying to go further inside of the Capitol. Alistair Chang painfully recalls the memory of January 6th.
January 6th is remembered as a national moment, and what's forgotten in that story and how we tell it is how much it affected those of us who live here.
The D.C. native and school board member looks back 5 years. His former brother-in-law, D.C. police officer Michael Fanone, was badly beaten that day. After Fanone criticized President Trump and the rioters, Alistair says his family faced threats, and he's hoping the anniversary can teach a lesson.
When we think about how to commemorate January 6th, we should also be thinking about the tactics that have been used since January 6th for those families that were involved and who stood up to him as part of the silencing.
I did reach out to the D.C. Republican Party for comment on this story about local voices remembering what happened 5 years ago. And as a community group, I thought it was prudent to let the Republican Party of D.C. chime in, but we have not yet heard back. Live in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, Ben Dennis, back to you.